from here. Okay, so first of all, a very good afternoon, all. So, as you know, this is Chris, and then welcome back to our session. And here, what we wanted to do it, guys, if you wanted, please ping in your respective groups. So, once if anyone wanted to join, they will join, or else, anyways, we'll start continuing with this. So if you see here, so the based on the yesterday's agenda, so 29th May, so we have been given the quick recap on the previous sessions. And so in the previous sessions, we have been talked about especially what you meant by API testing, or why we do the API testing, how to do the API testing. So we create our own fake APIs, and then in this particular fake APIs, we have been done this particular crude operations, and then we have been trying to automate that particular endpoint, the manual actions which we have been done with the rest assured. So this is what we have been started on the last week agenda. And then yesterday what we have been done is, so here we have been started with the JSON. So first we have been discussed what do you meant by JSON, and then we have taken that MMT example, and then with the help of this particular MMT example, we have been seen the how the data would be transferred from the server to the client, and what is the data format we should have it. So that is the reason we will be having JSON data. So the JSON stands for JavaScript object notation, and this is lightweighted and easy to read, easy to parse, easy to generate. So that's where we have been used it. And JSON was introduced by the JavaScript, but it can be portable for any other languages. So either it can be used in Java, either it can be used in Python. So for anything, it can be portable. So that is what about what is JSON, and then where it is used, as it wanted to transfer the data not only from the client to server, or you wanted to use it internally to the internal to our frameworks, or wherever you wanted to use it, we will be using this particular JSON. And here we have been, if you wanted to create a particular JSON, we need to learn two important things. One is the object, and then one is array. So object will have the curly braces, and then array will have square braces. So object will have the name pair values, and array will have an ordered list values. So this is what we have been discussed for the interaction of this particular JSON. And we have been seeing the sample format, like it will have the curly braces. So this is my particular one particular JSON object, and in this one uh, I have multiple objects we have been created. So one is for this Java object, one is for this particular Python object. So now this is what our object, and this is what our array. So now arrays will consist of multiple objects with the comma separated. So internally the data also will be separated with the comma, and then even the objects also will be separated by the comma, and all these things will be stored in an array. So that's how we have been seeing it. And what are the other type of data types which we can store it into the JSON types? So we will be having an object. So our object will have the key pair values, the key, name, and value. And here also we'll have the array. So array can hold strings, array can hold the strings and the integers, and the numbers and the booleans and the null values too. So this is what we have been discussed about the JSON. And then how we wanted to create a particular JSON file. So how to create a JSON file? Then we have started to create a particular JSON file with the student. So now we do have a student as a root node, and we created one object, the student names. So these are the different student names which we have been created, and every student will have the multiple means if we wanted to introduce the array inside an object, so we can do it. So this is an object, and inside a particular object, so we wanted to create a array list. So this is how we have been created over here. And what we have done, so once we have been created this particular sample JSON, so which we have been created, then we try to talk about. So now we know how to create a JSON file, and then what is a JSON file, what is the purpose of a JSON file. Now we wanted to access this particular JSON file. So when we wanted to do this particular JSON, access this particular JSON file, then we have been gone uh, through the tools, like we went for JSON path. So this JSON path, so Okay, I clicked the wrong URL. So JSON path. So now if you see here in this particular JSON path, so now we do have some special characters. Means this particular JSON path is to read, parse your JSON and read the data. So like this, there are many tools available in the market. Like we can use with the help of JSON. JSON is from Google, and then we do have Jackson, and then we do have Pojo classes converting that and then accessing data. But all of them, which is the most easiest thing, is this is what the easiest thing which we adopted, so which is a JSON path. So now if you learn this one, this would be completely independent for the API, mobile web APIs and whatever the things. So that's where we wanted to try out with this one. And even with the normal thing also, I'll show it to you so that we can understand. So that is what I said. So as of now, we are only talking from the JSON path of view, but if at all you wanted to find that particular normal way how to do it, I'll just let you know in the in our today's session. Okay. So then in the yesterday's JSON path, so we have been talked about this. The dollar symbol will talks about the root element, and at the rate will be saying that for the current node it will belong to star, means any particular thing which we will have it in the star, and then double dot will be into the deep scan. So till here we have been discussed, and then we have been discussed about the slicing. So where to start, where to end, and then expression. So at the rate for which value we wanted to have the less than symbol, greater than symbol, and these things we wanted to discuss. So this is like a JSON path is nothing but like a X paths. If you means if you wanted to identify a particular object in the website, so how you will be using the X path to grab that particular value and then identifying it. The same way, with the help of JSON path, we will identify the JSON value uniquely and pass it to the script. So this is how these things will be executed. So now this is what our operators. And then coming back over here, we have been seeing the functions. Means these are a quick functions available in the JSON path. Like if you wanted to identify the minimum, maximum, average, standard deviation, length, sum, and all these things, it can be achievable with the help of the JSON path plugin. And apart from this one, so if you wanted to do any particular comparative operations like equal to, double equal to, greater than, less than, equal to, so these all operations are there, right? So these all operations also can be performed and then achieved with the help of JSON path. And then we have been taken this particular JSON path, and then we wanted to try out these particular things. So then what we have been done, we have been taken a online tool evaluator. In the online tool evaluator, so we have been kept this particular JSON path, and then we have been trying to get these particular values. We started to evaluate that particular values. So we have been tried this all. So now once we have been done with this one, what else next we have been done in our agenda? So now first we have read about JSON and then JSON path and played with the online, and then we wanted to try to implement with the Eclipse, which we have been tried to do it. So that is what here we are trying to means it is not completed, it is in progress. So then what we have been done, I told that how we can introduce this one into the Eclipse. So for this particular thing to introduce into the Eclipse, so we have certain things like we need to add this particular dependencies. So we need to create a quick Maven project in the pom.xml file. You need to add this particular dependencies. So we have been added this particular dependency, JSON path dependency, JSON smart dependencies, we have been added over here. And then we had went to the this particular get path, and in the get path, so we have been trying to fetch this particular data, and then we wanted to print this particular values. Now we talked about there is a 4 lines magical lines to read the JSON path plugin, JSON path plugin. So then here we have been that, so there is an interface. I mean, this is from the JWay for JSON path. So now if you see here, if you see the JSON path document context, so now here we have been taken the document context, we created an object reference, this is an interface, and we do have the reference, and we do have JSON path class. So in the JSON path class, we have been seen multiple methods to read, to put, to set, to get, to delete, to whatever the values we wanted to do the parsing. So all those methods are directly available in the JSON path. So we are using that particular class. Now what we wanted to do is, so with the help of the parse, we wanted to get this particular string, and we wanted to pass that particular string to this particular parser, so that it reads this particular data and stores in the JSON reader. So now what it happened, this means the JSON reader. So now this complete value has been read into this particular object. Now I wanted, so now I read this complete, means this complete string into object. My object is ready. Now I need to have the execute query, means for an example in this one. So this particular the string is ready. Now I need to give this particular syntax, means what I need to search, that particular JSON path syntax I need to type it, right? So for that one, what we have been done, so we created an object for this particular JSON path class. So what the value I wanted, I have been taken this particular object, and for this particular JSON dot compile, into the compile I need to pass that particular query. So now this is a query which I have been passed into it. So now this is the syntax, which means this is what I wanted to read it. So that is what I have been given here. I'm sorry. So I have been given here. So now what I need to do, so I have my object is ready and my query is ready. Now I need to uh, query this particular query in that particular object. Now this is what my object, and I'm trying to read from this particular query from this particular object. Now once I read that particular value, I wanted to store into this, and then I wanted to print this one. So till here we have been done yesterday. So we have been executed, and then we are able to get all the prices. Now if at all we wanted to do some assertion, we wanted to do the assertion, right? So now for an example, I wanted to take the lot of rings, and then I wanted to do this. So now how I can do that one is, so first of all, you wanted to prepare that particular query, right? So copy this and go to this one, and then control A here. Now I wanted to have this lots of ring. So now I need to form the query for this one, right? So now what I'll try to do, so I'll write the store. What happened? Okay, store. I think it's not refreshed. I just got, okay. I missed the one braces for this. So you have to be so cautious, guys. Now go here. I'm pasting this particular thing. Now what I wanted, the lots of rings, right? So I have been given the store dot. So now I need, means I have this array, book array. I'm going to that book array. So now what is my index of this one? What is the index of this? 0 1 2 3. So 3, I have it, and I need the title of this. Okay, so the lots of string, I got it. So now I wanted to print this one. So copy, and then this is what I wanted to pass it over here, and then I wanted to execute it. So now if you see here, it thrown me the error. So what it was saying, the error, see, a string cannot be cast into the JSON array, means actually this is a string. See, previously why it was not thrown error, means it was getting me all the titles of this. See, now for an example, if I given this one as this titles, so now if I executed, it will not throw me error, because it was bringing me a list of array. But when I was trying to access only one particular record, so I don't require for that particular thing array, right? So what I need to do for this one is, so I need to do it as a small change here. For all authors, I need to convert this one to string. So now if I taken this one, will the problem will solve? Even now I was getting this one as the issue. So now what I need to do, so I shouldn't take this one into this particular array. I just need to take it into a simple string. So that's a string, only the string value, right? Now I don't want this one. So now if I start working with this one, even now I'm getting the same error. Let's see, let's debug and then see some problem we have been done for this one. So now what we are trying to do, so we are passing this particular thing, and it was going to the JSON reader, and in this particular JSON reader, I'm trying to compile this one. So I'm passing the title for this. So whether I'll check this is a right syntax or wrong syntax. I'm able to get the lots of ring. So then whatever the query which I was trying to do, the query is perfectly fine. Now I'm able to get this one. Now I'm trying to read this, means I'm defining as a string value, and that particular string value, I am trying to pass this one as a JSON object. For this particular JSON object, read the author to, means I'm converting this one into a string, and then I'm passing the value into this. Yes, this should have worked, right? So what it was saying that missing the property. Okay, so where is this 82nd line? So for this one, it was saying that it was a missing the property of this one. Some small error we are trying to get this one. So okay, I'll close this all. Okay, I'll do a project to clean. Okay, so always I told you, right, the project clean will saves a lot of your time. Okay, now here I'll first remove all the executions, and I'll remove the console. Okay, now what I wanted to execute this particular program, right? So now I'll try to run this. Still it was throwing me the same error. What is that error, guys? So com dot some error we are getting at query dot error. I'm just pausing the record. Okay, so now if you see here, so what is the mistake we have been done is we try to do to string this particular variable. We shouldn't try to convert this one into string. So now total the thing which we are trying to read it, so that one we need to convert into the string. So now what we have done, so now whatever the value I was getting out of this one, so the value out of this one is getting the lots of ring. So now that lots of ring I converted into the string. See now the output of this JSON read this one. So when I was reading with this particular thing, I'll be getting the output as the lot of rings. So that lot of links I should convert into the string. So that is what I have been converted. If I converted this strings all authors, this is I'm converting into the string. This I shouldn't convert into the string. That's not my job. My job is whatever the output of this one should convert into the string. So that is what I have been converted. Now the lot of rings is the output of this, and I stored into this particular variable, and then I'm trying to print it here. Now I got it. Now what I'll try to do once after this one, so I do the asset, right? So asset dot equal. So now what I wanted to asset, so what is my actual value? So this is what my actual value, and what is my expected value, what I'm expecting. So this you can pass it as from your test data or from your any external source. You shouldn't hard code it here, but as ease of use I was just doing the hard code for this. Now I'll be saying that, so I have been taken this, and then I try to do this, and I'll say this saying that awesome dude. Okay, so we have been given this. Now if let's see here, now if I start to execute this particular program, or control F11, see it printed, it asserted, and the assertion is passed. Now for an example, if I have been given rings, so now what it will happen, it will do fail that, and it will say that expected is the lot of rings, but the actual value is this. So this is how this assertion will fail. So now you've seen it, right? Now you can prepare all this as your test data. Means, for example, what is the URL you need to pass it, or what is the for an example, if it is a retail practice, how you will process your product, and all these values. You can create a particular JSON file into your framework project. For an example, I can add this. I can create one particular folder saying that my test data folder. You can say that this is my test data folder, and in this particular test data folder, I wanted to create a particular file. So now the file name, you can give it as my configuration data dot JSON file. So now you can finish this. So now you can give some JSON file, means whatever the test data you wanted to pass it over to your script. This might be anything, for anything you wanted to use it, not only for the API automation. So now this is how you can be creating this all data. You can keep it, means you can create all your test data like URL equal to this, username equal to this, password equal to this. So you can give all your test data, and if you wanted to call that into your the Java into your programming, just only these 4 lines will do a magic. Keep this particular 4 lines as your generic method, and for that method you pass that particular data. The method will, this would be a written method, the method will return you with the output. Get that particular data, and then you can do the assertions. So this is how you can try to do it. Okay, so this is how the JSON path will work. Any questions? Now whatever the query you wanted, you can build it. So the same thing will it apply. If it is a you need to create 2 methods. If you are returning an array, so then that you should capture into an array. If you are returning a string, then the return method should be a string. That's it. So now you can change whatever the string you wanted to do. So those particular things you can change it, and they grab the values of all this. Is it hard? So only these 4 lines which you need to take it, and it should be not even 4 lines. If you create a method, always 2 methods you'll have it. One is it returns you the string value, one it returns you the array value. If you given that query, so this query, if you have been passed to this, you'll get the written values. That's it. That would be a generic method, you'll be creating it, and in complete your framework project you can use this particular JSONs wherever you require. How simple it is. That's it. And accessing the data and doing this all would be a pretty simple activity. Any questions still here, guys? Yes, no?
Yeah, clear, Krish.
Cool. So now what we will try to do now, how we will need to access this means, now I wanted to integrate to the API automation. Let's come here and then we will see it. Okay. Now I'll comment this one. Now I'm able to access my JSON data. I can create my JSON data. I can access my JSON data manually, and even with the automation code we have been done. So now what I'll try to do, I'll complete this particular agenda saying that implementation into the Eclipse implementation also done. So it means accessing the JSON data with JSON path plugin into Eclipse. So even this is also we have been done. Now what else we wanted to do it? So now apart from this one, so we wanted to try to do it for, I'll keep this one as agenda for today, so that whoever refers, that would be much more better. So the agenda for the 30th. So this is what we have been done. So quick recap of the previous session we have been given. So that also I'll mention this, and I'll do this one. Okay, so now this is we have been done. Now what else we wanted to do is I need to integrate this one to the API, right? So that is what the most important thing, integrating this JSON path plugin to my API. So this is what I wanted to see it. Now what it was happening, let's go back to the code and then we will see it. What we are trying to do, this is what my local host which is I'm posting. So now if I, okay, control G, if I go to the server, means I have already on the server. So now if I click on this, I'm able to get this data. Now I should be able to get this data, and then on the fly I need to do the assertions. So this is how we will do it, right? So in my post request, whatever I'll be hitting it, so now I'll hit this, and I should verify this particular data also. Now this I need to do it in the automation. Now previously how we have been done, so we have been hit this, and then we have been only validating the status codes. Means if you see here, from the postman, what are the things we have validated? We have validated the status code, we validated this one, we validated the time size, and we have validated the header, and complete response body we have been validated. If you see here, this is what the code. So now if I start to execute this particular program, so now if you see here, it printed me this statement, and it hit this one, get that particular response stored here, and then that response status code, I'm capturing the body of this one, capturing content type and header type, and the status code I got it, I'm doing the assertion of the status code. If you see here, so I got the status code, I got the complete response body within a pretty string format. And once I got this one, I'll be having these two as the content type and the header type. I got it, and then I completed it. But now we didn't validate this particular data. So now what I need to do, I need to validate this data. How I need to validate? First, I'll be using with the help of JSON path plugin. I will integrate that, and I need this particular, I'll fetch this data, and then I will be comparing. I'll do the assertions, which I wanted to do it. Now, what for this one, what I'll need to do is, so first I'll take this one and I'll copy into this JSON path evaluator. So manually, first we will see. Okay, now what are the values I wanted to see? So now I wanted to fetch the particular value. For an example, I wanted to fetch the value of this one. The title, the ID is 6, the title is Power Star, and then I wanted the Pavan Kalyan. So now what I'll try to do here, I'll give this. Okay, so now I'm able to, with this particular dollar, I'm able to get that particular complete array list. Now into this particular array, I want 3. So means this is what my third one, right? This is what my third one, which I wanted to take it. See now, this is this is this is this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So I given the 3. So now 3, I closed it. Now I wanted the title, right? Title small, it should be small, title Power Star. I got it. Okay, now what I wanted to get this particular value, and I need to do the assertion. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. Now I'll go to Eclipse. Now first of all, let's see, here we need to understand step by step. I wanted my response, I'll get my response, and with this particular response I need to search for this particular JSON parser and query that, get the value, do the assertion. I'll write the steps. Now, first, what I need to have it, come on. So I need to want fetch, means get the response. Okay, so I need to get the response. And once I got the response, store into the object. And once I stored into this particular object, go for, means prepare your query, means what the query I wanted to execute, prepare the query, and then read the query from the object, and assign into the value, means assign into the variable, that which we have been done, that assign into variable. And then what else you need to do? So do the assertion for this one. So now assert data. So these are the steps which we wanted to do it. So for the time being, I'll just comment this particular piece of code for having the clarity. Now I wanted to have the response. Okay, now I commented this one, right? I'll take this particular response and I'll write this one SYSO. So here, what happened? Oh, double S, it's printed. So SYSO control space bar. So here I'll keep the response. Okay, I'll write this one. So what it will gives me if I execute this one, what this will print me if I given this response. Let's see what it gives to me. Okay, we'll come one by one so that it will be easier for us to understand. See now, what is my response? If you see here, how the response is, I'm able to get it. This is an object of the response class. So now whatever the thing we got it from here, we are trying to store into this. Now it was giving me the object memory allocation of this. Rest assured. What I wanted, can I convert? Means is this a thing which I need to do to if I do the to string, it will bring me into the string. Let's see. Because many of the people will do this mistake. That's where I was just wanted to spring. So now what this happened is this object string this was converted into a string. This is not we expecting. What we are expecting, so we wanted to have response to pretty string. So now if you execute this one, you see it now. This is what I'm expecting. So I should, my response equal to, this is what it has to be print. Excellent. Now I got my response. Now what I need to do? So now this response, what I need to do, I'll go here. The same code, this is what we have been done, right? Now the step number one, get the response. This is done. Now I'm able to get the response in proper format. So now whatever the required format, we are able to get that particular into the proper format. Now next one, store into the object. Now I need to create that particular JSON path object, right? So I'm trying to create into the JSON path object. So now how I need to create it? So this is what I'm trying to do it. So now go here and try here. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm just creating that particular object. Now this response, I need to pass it over here, right? I'm taking this particular response and copying. See, this is what it was happening, right? So for JSON path, I need to parse. Where I need to parse? You need to parse into this particular string. So that is what the path string we have been given over here. Now let's see whether it's working fine or not, or we will correct ourselves if something problem is coming. So we'll come step by step so that it will be easier for us to do it. So whether it was printing, awesome. It was printing me properly. It was printing this. All things are going good. Now next, what we wanted to do. So now I have been taken the complete string into this particular object. Now I'm able to take into the object, right? So now what I need to do, I need to form the query parameter. So the query parameter, how I need to form the query parameter. So this is what, how I'll be forming my query parameter. So I'll be giving this particular query parameter here. Now query parameter, what the query parameter I need to pass. See, if you see here, I want power star. So now what I need to do, I need to give this particular query so that I can get it. So now instead of this one, I replaced it. So now with this one, I'm able to get the power star. So now this would compile this and then it should able to give it to me. So now if you see here in the bottom, so this when the next one, what we see now, this is your query parameter and this is your object. Now this query need to call from your query. So that is what we are trying to do. So just copy this particular step over here and then come back to here. The same thing which I have been explained in the bottom. Now what we are trying to do, we are trying to query on this particular object, this particular query parameter. I'm trying to query on here. Okay, this is what we are trying to do it. So now what I'll be saying it. So here it is a title, right? So this is what here I'll say that power title. So anything you can write it the name. So that's where I was writing with the power title. So I'll just take this one and I'll pass it over here. Now this is what my query parameter, I have been taken it. And now here it's what in my JSON reader means which it reads the complete string. In this particular string, I'm passing this particular query parameter to read, and then I'm converting into a string and then storing into a string value. So here I can write that one as uh, power title. So just I'm writing that. And now once I got this one, I'll try to print this one and then I'll print awesome. So now let's try what it was happening. Okay, awesome. So you are able to get your power star. So now if you see here, we are able to get that, means this is what we have been queried and then we got the power star. So now I don't wanted to have the power star. Now I wanted his brother. So I'll keep it this one 2 so that I'll get the mega star. So now if I go here, just copy this and come here and then change this one here. I paste it here, just execute that. See, I got this. That's it. So if you change this, so now these methods are common. Okay, you need to change this one. So you can pass this as a parameter for this method, and this will returns me this. Now what I need to do, I need to do the assertion. So asset dot asset equal to um, asset equals to, now what is my actual value? This is what my actual value, I'll pass it over here, and then I wanted to compare this value, so I'll just give this particular value over here so that the assertion will pass. Okay, so now if I execute this one, Excellent. It asserted means it printed me and then it asserted me and then it given me. So now what we have been done asserted. So if you wanted to change this one, you can just see if you given some other thing, so it will fail. So this is how this assertion will work and then executed. See, now it will say that expected. This is what your expected value, but it was found only the mega star. So now, no, boss, I'm done the mistake from my end. I changed it. Now will work. So this is how. So now we have been executed. Now let's execute the complete program so that we can see it. So now I can get all my status codes, execution times, and all the things. Let's see that. Let's see that. So if I see this one, so execute that. Now I'm able to fetch all my values. See, I'm not only doing the assertion of this, so I'll be able to get my status codes and all. So what is the thing which you need to understand is, so now I'm validating this and asserting this, validating this, asserting this, validating this, and even not only the validation of this, whether I got the response body, I was going to the each and every cell, every value of the JSON, and I'm able to validate that I can, means whatever the validations I need to do it. So this is how we need to do the validation, whether the value is present or not. So now what are the validations we can cover as part of this one? See, now I told you, right? This is what our response body, and this is what the response body validations which we are trying to do it. So we will validate this status codes, time, size, and the response body and the headers. Now in terms of the particular response body, we need to validate the data of this one also. So you need to validate this, and what else, what are the other things you can do it? So now you can check whether it is this value is present or not, and whether the value of this one is a string, or whether it's what is the data type of this one, and what is the boundary value analysis of this particular value. So like this, whatever the values, like special character validations, wild characters, and the alphanumerics. So whatever level the validations which we will usually do, all level of validations we can do it over here, because now I'm able to fetch this one. Now I can verify whether it is this a particular data, or it's a null value, or it's a special characters, alphanumericals, or whatever the things it's there. Now remaining other validations are same, right? So I can see with the help of contains, is there any special characters, wild characters, like that. So this is how you will validate each and every values with the help of JSON. So now you understood, right? So in this particular agenda, when you are discussing about the API automation, why we required to know about this JSON path, and how to access into the Eclipse, and why we have been done. So this is what the reason why we should learn these as a prerequisites. Because if I directly start the API automation, rest assured API automation, I told you, right, doing this one, it will not take more than 10 minutes. If I wanted to write this particular statement, it will not take more than 10 minutes. But for knowing this one and proceeding further with it, so you need to know many of the prerequisites of this particular API automation. So these are the prerequisites are most important for this. So now we understand the TestNG, Maven, and then JSON path. So how it is helpful for us. So this is how we have been seeing it. Cool. Any questions still here? Now, bus, you are only talking about here get. So how about our other things? Like, so we have been only seeing with the get request. So how to do it for post request, how to do it for put request, or how to do it for delete. So these are the things which we have been seeing it manually, right? So how I wanted to validate, only we are doing with the get. If you understand how to do with the get, doing with the post, and for other things, it is quite similar. I'll just show you that. So now what else we wanted to learn? So now we are able to validate all the things. Now you tell me what we missed. We are able to get all the values from here, and then we are able to validate now. Now we need to understand some more pointers or some more features of the rest assured. So what is that particular some more features is? Rest assured was, or okay, is uh, developed with the help of BDD, behavioral driven development. So it has some capabilities. Now, I'll not get into the details of the BDD because it will take a separate session for us. If you need any particular information, you have in all videos into the Cucumber, you have this particular introduction and into the detail level of sessions were there. I'll not get into that one, but here you need to learn a 5 to 6 words, especially from the BDD style. So now what are this particular BDD style means? You need to learn about 5 keywords. Means there are many things, but still, at least these are the minimum things if you wanted to get started with the rest assured client tool. So one is given, when, then, and um, given, when, and then. Okay, this 4 is enough. Remaining things we will be using very rare. Those things that's not required. So that's where I'll be postponing it. Now, what do you mean by given, when, then, and? If you understand this 4, remaining things would be much more easier. Whoever already working in the BDD, I think it is not more required. So I'll restrict, means I'll not spend much time on this one. Just at least 5 minutes. I need to talk about this one. So for others, in benefit of others, so that we can understand. Now, given means it says that I'm giving some inputs, given A and B. When means when you're performing some action, given A and B, when you are adding them, then your output is 5. For an example, given 5 plus 3, when I'm adding 5 plus 3, then the result is 8. Always you need to remember that in given, we will be giving that all our inputs will be given. And in when you are making some operation or some performing some method, and then means this gives you the result. And means you can add it wherever, means if you wanted to add multiple statements, it's and is a conjunction, so adding the multiple statements which you wanted to do it. So now and is help to add or combine one or more statements, so that will help you the and. It helps to combine one or more statements. Okay, now this is what your and. So you need to understand that. For an example, I wanted to prepare, means I give the same examples even in the previous sessions too. If you see in the video, you can see the same. I wanted to prepare a biryani, chicken biryani. So give, okay, so whatever, vegetarian or whatever it might be. So I wanted to prepare a biryani. So when I wanted to prepare the biryani, I need to have given with a basmati rice and all the ingredients. Then when I started cooking, means I'm doing the cooking over there. So when I'm cooking all these things, then the biryani will be ready in within 10 minutes. So given always talks about the inputs which we wanted to given, and when we wanted to use, when we wanted to perform some actions, then always talks about your result which we are getting it from that particular operations. And is used to combine this one. So now if you see the complete rest assured framework, so now let's go to the details of the rest assured framework. So rest assured. So when we have been gone, so this is what your official site for the rest assured. Now if you go for your docs here, you will be seeing here, right, in the docs, usage docs, and here it will be clearly explained, so how we need can be implemented with this all. If you see here, so this is what I have been told. So given, get, then, if you see here these particular statements. Now let's try to implement this particular statement and see how this will work in the it will work for us. So I'll go back to our Eclipse once again. So in this particular Eclipse, I'll create one more particular test case. I'll copy this one, okay, for the convenience. I think your video was on, Sonam. Okay, so here when I copied this,
Thank you, Krish.
not a problem. So here, if you see here, so I have been given here with BDD style. Okay, now let's see that one. I'll, for the namesake, I'll just remove all these things because as of now this is not required. Okay, now I'll remove this all. Okay, now I'll command this. Okay, so now if you see here, okay, I wanted to do it. So now just I'll try to execute first and then I'll change step by step. Okay, it was executing it. So now what it was trying to do, it was hitting this particular URL, means the get URL, and then it was trying to print me this all. Okay, now what are the things, means if I wanted to have it in the BDD style, so now what I need to do it. Okay, I'll just mention this one, right? So the BDD style. Now I'll take this one. Okay, I'll see my imports first. Okay, so which imports I'm not using, I'll remove that imports. If you see this particular imports, now these is, if you see this is what the rest assured imports, guys, always you should keep in mind. So you means always when you're using some methods and interfaces and all the things, you should know from where it was getting. If you see document context, it is getting from the JSON path. JSON path is coming from the JSON path, and rest assured we are using these two only. Okay, these two plugins, and these two imports are for the testng. These two things are for the JSON path. These two things are for the rest assured. Now let's see what this guy is saying is, if you have been done this one, static inputs. See, now if you made this one as a static input, then it will work for us. Now what we will try to do, import for this one as trying to make this one as a static import, and then what I'm trying to do, I'll make this one as star. It imports means it should, whatever the things are available in this particular rest assured class, you wanted to import all. See, now as soon as I selected this one, it started me to throw this particular error. Okay, I need to comment this also, then only it will work. And I'll do this one also. Anywhere else it was throwing the error message. Okay, so now let's come here. So now what it was trying to say, that as this is a static import, so there is no need to create my the class name for that one. So now I can remove this one with this particular get. Now what I can do with this one is I can use some more things, like I can have one more variable called base URI. So now when I have been given this particular URL, so I don't need to write every time this particular URL. One time I'll write it here. Okay, into this particular URL, I'll paste this and I'll just remove this, and then I'll say that's it. Now I have this particular get. Okay, now out means get this particular request. Okay, dot. Now what means, I wanted to get this particular request, and then get the status code, means that is what my expected status code, right? Means what is your expected status code? So 200, or what the status code we wanted to use it. So those particular status code you can enter here, and then you can close it. So means what I wanted to try to show it to you is, so it just help we are trying to use the BDD format for this one. Means when we have been get to this particular URL, then the output code should you should able to get this one as the status code as 200. So that is what we are trying to do, that one. So that is what I wanted to do it. So now let's comment this all particular piece of codes. Now previously we wanted to store, and then with the help of this response code we are doing this all validation, but now we are not doing all those things now. So just you got that, and then validate whether within one line. See, now what I'm trying to do previously, I'll get that code, store that particular into the response, and get that particular response into the status code, store into a variable, and do the assertion. Now without doing all the things, now just I'll be getting into this get, and then putting, means I was calling that particular URL, means that particular AP, that particular endpoint. So now this is what my base URI, and all my endpoints would be, I can add it like this, and then the status code of this one. So within one line of statement, if you see how many lines it saved, one line, two line, three lines. Instead of three lines, I can write it in a single line of statement, and then I can execute this one. Wow, awesome. This executed and then it is passed. For an example, now if I given it 201, okay, 201. Now let's see, execute it. See, it was throwing me error saying that it expected 201, but you got 200. But no, no, no. I wanted only 200 only. See, with one line of statement, how you have been accessed it. So this is the ease of use. So this is a use of use. So that's where rest assured was most popular in the market. Now, no need to write multiple things. See, now what it was saying that I get this particular URL, then when we will be using result, then my body should be equal to this. Now let's try something more. Let's something more. Now we are validating the status code. Now what I wanted to validate now, I wanted to validate something more here. Now what I wanted to do after then, okay, then in my body was dot in my body, okay. So in this particular body, I wanted to do equal to means actually here we have been compared this same thing, right? So here I wanted to compare what we have been asserted, power star or mega star we have been done, right? So now I'll say that equal to, so I'll just give that particular value here. Now I need to go and fetch this value from the statement, right? So now how I'll get that particular statement? So I'll come here for this one. Now where is that guy? So here it is there, right? So okay, 2, I need this title, right? So I'll take this one directly and then I'll pass this one as an argument to this, okay. And then okay, so what is the error it was throwing to me? So I'm using some wrong method. So I'll be validating the, just give me 1 second, the body string, and the response aware in the type validate is not applicable for the string and string. So it was saying that, so here I need to use the matcher only. So I'll do that equal to, means equal to, do you know, right? So we talked about some ham cluster ham clusters, we need to use it. So ham cluster library, we need to use that particular library to get that. Yeah, so I'll do one thing. So first I'll explain that, and then if I explain this one, it would be much more easier for you. It is same. So now previously how we are, means how here we have been taken. So now we have been read that one into a variable, and then how we did this particular assertion. The same way it can be achievable in the same line. So now I'll be passing this particular path. If you see the documentation, you can clearly understand here. So if you see here, I'll be giving that particular ID, means what are the values you need to use it. Then I'll be using this particular, this is what the matches, means I'm trying to compare to this. So now I'll pass this particular thing. See, now we have it, right? So this particular Hamchester matches I need to introduce here. So I'll explain about what is this Hamchester, Hamchesters and matchers, and how we use this equal to method, and then how we use has methods. So if I explain that, and then if I do this one into a single line, that would be much more helpful for you, so that in the next session I'll map that one, and whatever the 3-4 lines we are trying to do it here. So with the help of this particular JSON path, okay, I'll get that value and I'll asset to this particular value, and I can complete it. So now within one particular line we can complete all. So as this is a get method, I used get. If it is a post method, I'll use post. Put method means put, delete method means delete. So those particular direct methods I'll be using it with that particular endpoints, and then I will to get it. So once after this completion of this Hamchesters, once we done with the get, then I'll show it to your post and put and then delete. That's it. Rest assured is complete. Learning rest assured, we don't have, I mean, it don't require much time, but learning these prerequisites, which are the prerequisites which we have been learned, it consumes a lot of time. So as I told you, right? So here the JSON path which we have been learned, and we learned what is JSON and JSON object. which we have been spent the time. And then we have slightly learned what you meant by BDD and what is meant by Java and what are the API concepts and how to test the API, the manual testing on this one. So these are all things we have been learned as a prerequisites. So here we have been even seen the TestNG and then Maven. So now apart from these two things, the last only one thing which is having the pending is, so we should know the Hamcrest library and matchers and then accession library. If you have this particular prerequisites, so then first I'll train that and then I'll show you for the get, and then after the get I'll show you for the post, put and delete. So this is how we write the test cases. That's it. API automation is done. Now, how to call it in the framework? That's also I'll explain you at one session. So how the API frameworks would be there, so that you can clearly understand the end to end of this particular sessions for doing the API automation. So